It's called minimal viable devotion. You know where this term comes from? Minimum viable?
Nope.
No? Sheshdev knows this. This is a very common term in Amazon. Minimal viable product. Yeah? MVP. So we have a minimal viable devotion. So our goal is love of God after liberation. First we get liberated and then we continue to serve the Lord and we come to liberation. So Manushyanam Sahasreshu, 1 in 1,000 will take this up. Usually the educated population will take devotional service because the uneducated people are thinking if I get educated, I'll make more money and I'll live happily ever after. But the educated person knows that he's already educated and he's making good money, but he's not happy. He or she is not happy. So world population is 8 billion, divide that by 1,000. So 8 million people will take this up. According to Krishna's Manushyanam Sahasreshu, means Sahasra means 1,000. For every 1,000, one person will take up to devotion. Other people will do some lightweight yoga, they'll do some Mayavad, they'll do whatever Sadguru teaches, like the Sadguru, the Punjabi saint who's traveling around the world and he has a lot of movie stars as his disciples. Yeah, they will teach some basic feel good type of stuff. Yeah, don't lie, don't cheat, be a nice person. But that's not devotion. Devotion is something more deeper. So we have currently 1 million devotees worldwide. How to reach to the remaining 7 million? So any thoughts? This is going to be a brainstorming. It's not going to be general Bhagavad Gita. And we'll come to general Bhagavad Gita also after a while. But initially it will going to be a brainstorming.
Yeah. Today,
How are we going to reach the remaining 7 million?
It is 7 million or 8 billion versus 8 million, right?
Yeah, 8 billion versus 8 million. 1 million devotees are already there, ISKCON devotees. Do you not like my math?
No, I'm thinking it. So how do we reach to the remaining 7 million or
7
remaining
million,
part?
yeah. Because only 8 billion divided by 1,000 is 8 million people will take this.
Oh, okay.
Of course, Krishna wants he can make everybody a devotee. But my experience in the last 17 years is everybody will not take this up. We'll have to beg people to take and be a devotee.
Okay.
Right? So at one point I had 12 students. People stopped coming because they are attracted by the glare of Maya, material energy. You know what material energy will do? He'll say, everything is okay. Why are you worried? There is Corona, but it's okay. You can stay at home and still enjoy life and you will live a long life. But that's not guaranteed. Something will happen and people will die. So our target group is remaining 7 million. Of course, you have to reach to 700 million to make 7 million devotees. Because not everybody will take up. Like you'll call them to Janmashtami, you'll call them to different festivals. Some will come grudgingly. Some will they will start doing it and after a while they'll say, this is all, fairy tale, so let me give it up. So not many people will stay. Right? Actually, in my mailing list, I have 40 people. Regularly, I used to get 12 people. And now, today's only score is what? 5 people. So Krishna's calculation is very correct. Right? Only 1 in 1,000 will take up devotion. Manushyanam Sahasreshu Kasyid Yatati Siddhaye. Very few people will take it up. Which is good thing for us because there is actually less competition to go back to Godhead. Right? Like if you go to India, ration shop, there'll be a long line. But the line for liberation is very short. Very few people want to take it up, which is good for us. Which means if we do it properly, we can be assured of going back to the spiritual world. So any thoughts, discussion? Disha Mataji, what are your thoughts?
I was just gonna say something. Prabhu. Yeah, I agree that for a non-devotee, which I still consider myself to be, I'm still struggling with. I struggled so much to get to your class. It took me 8 years more uh, to get to that. But throughout this 8 years, I have to say that I was listening in, going to the temple, doing ekadasi. It's just the enlightenment comes when it has to come. uh, that will is from inside. Making it, giving people just not the Janmashtami and the stuff, but also promoting like what ekadasi is, and what festivals are, and what's the meaning of all these important days in the month, is baby steps for newbies who don't know anything about religion. That
Yeah.
gives them, like, a kickstart, like a jump start, like a basic jump start.
Yeah. But even though I call, like, I have called 1,000 people over the last 15 years. And I have 7 or 8 people come to my Friday class, 7 or 8 people to my Saturday class, and 5 people to my Sunday class. So I'm willing to put in, I don't take vacation, because if I take vacation, then my students will feel bad, whoever is coming. But still, very few people, even though I've invited over 1,000 people. And one person every week, he will decline my class. He takes great pleasure in declining my Bhagavad Gita class. Right? He will purposefully hit decline so that I get a notification decline.
How about talking to them? How about, just going there and saying, "Hi, give me some advice. How do I make this better? How do I make it more attractive for you to join?"
Yeah,
Because
most people say I don't have time.
got it. Agree, agree. It was me.
Yeah. Or some people, some Westerners will say, I'm already happy, so why I need to do this? Part of the problem is America is a wealthy country. I mean, prior to Corona, very few people had any real problems, right? Every 3 days, 3 times a day, they have food, they have good clothes, good vehicle. So it's not like Bangladesh where people are struggling, or Somalia, right? So people are not struggling really. So that's also seems to be a negative, right? Like Bhakti Vikas Maharaj
Mhm.
gave a lecture, and I sent it on the WhatsApp chat for the temple. Um, he said, bad karma equals to good luck. If you are suffering, that's a good thing. That's good luck, because then you will quickly get out of this material world. If you have good karma, good results, then you are saying, our life is okay. I don't need to do anything. Once in a while, I will learn some advanced programming language like Java or C Sharp just to hone up my skills. I'll have a good job. Good job means good pay. I can use that to enjoy my life. So, with that said, minimal viable devotion means there are some non negotiables, right? And especially in the Corona thing, you still have to associate with devotees, like you're attending this class, right? Otherwise, whatever little you have done, that will also go away. Then you should do individual chanting, virtually visiting holy places. The other day, I clicked on a link for Tirupati, and even when I was there in person, I was never able to get such a nice darshan. So they had the camera zoomed in on Balaji, full top to bottom darshan. When you go in person, right, they will let you look at the Lord for 1 second or 2 seconds. Immediately they'll push you out because there's a huge line waiting, 12 hours of waiting, right? So they cannot afford to keep you for more than 1 second or 1.5 seconds. But here online, nice darshan. Strictly following regulative principles like no meat eating, no gambling, no illicit sex, no intoxication. If people follow that strictly, then everything should be good. There's somewhat negotiable like farm communities, large temples. We don't need large temples. We need more, our temple of our heart should be good. Because if you have a large temple and you don't go to it, what's the point? Yeah. Training kids, some people will say, I'll make my kids into pure devotees. They'll try and it will not happen, and they'll get um, disillusioned. So they'll give up, right? Or trying to push your spouses. You can try a little bit by giving prasadam every day for the Matajis and for Prabhus, talk nicely to their wives and try to bring them in. But if they don't come, there's nothing much you can do. What can you do? Cannot do anything. And there are certain things that are negotiable, right? Like, you're trying to achieve something in the material world. Maybe I want to become $3 million rich, right? That's my target. You may or may not achieve it, too difficult. So if you wait till that target is achieved, then you will never really make it, right? Like Gopal has been coming to my classes for like what? How long, Gopal? Have you been coming to my class?
Almost 5 years, Prabhuji.
Almost 5 years. So are you convinced or not yet?
Yes, Prabhuji.
You have to be convinced. Otherwise,
Yeah.
one fine day will be dead actually. That's the only thing. Whether you are very rich or very poor, that will come and just hit you. The corona is just coming now, but there could be so many other things, earthquakes or sleeping in the bathroom. And one of my grandmother's sister, she slipped in the bathroom. No, she slipped in the living room. She was trying to get out of where she was sitting and start the radio. Back then we didn't have remotes, right? So you have to get up and switch on the radio. So she fell and broke her hip bone, never recovered, and then she died. So anything can happen. You have to be convinced, otherwise. But non-negotiables, the first set, whether you have temple open or temple closed, doesn't matter. You have to follow them. Otherwise, you will not be able to progress. Hold on just a minute. I will attend to this phone. In the meantime, you can discuss amongst yourselves what is negotiable, what is non-negotiable. I'll go back to the previous page. Keep discussing.
Okay, so who is the assistant teacher now?
What?
Who is the assistant? Harry Bol, everybody. Who is the assistant teacher now?
I didn't understand.
Prabhu is gone to pick up a phone call, so he said that we have to discuss. And I'm wondering who is the assistant teacher, who's going to lead the class? Okay, I'm the junior most over here, so I need some guidance. I'm the newbie.
Okay, so what is your conclusion?
We should have a temple, definitely, no matter what. We should have a Zoom call till things get better.
Okay. A physical temple is very expensive to build. Takes a lot of energy to build.
Yes, Prabhuji, but experience is different, Prabhuji, with physical temple.
But you have Karuna also.
Yeah,
That will
uh,
go away, Prabhuji.
excluding these certain times, then
Uh, quick thing, like like we have these virtual cooking classes and virtual YouTube videos of cooking, and we can virtual do darshan at Tirupati Balaji. Why can't we have virtual darshan at devotees' homes? Like hey, let's do a virtual aarti at somebody's house.
Yeah, that's the point, because because of Corona, even if you want to, you cannot go. If you go, you may catch it or you may spread it to others. We don't know whether we have it or not inside us.
So does our temple have virtual darshan, virtual aarti?
Yeah. Every evening the aarti is transmitted online. Or establish your own home altar according to the Sampradaya. So altar means you have to establish it using Radha Krishna, Gaur Nitai, Jagannath Baldev Subhadra, potentially Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman, but no devatas. Your home altar should not have devatas. Because worshipping devatas is useless.
Got it.
This is what happens. People worship devatas, nothing happens. So they lose faith and they become atheists. Because again, it comes back to the point Dishama. People don't know. Somebody has to teach them. But when somebody tries to teach them from the Shastra, they say we don't have time. So it's a tough situation. And also, if you do virtually, you cannot have prasadam online, right? You still have to cook and then you have to offer it to your deities with the mantras. You cannot dance in front of the deities online or sing. So it's a very difficult proposition. How do you do?
Prabhu, that's
Um,
so.
Sorry?
Go ahead. No, somebody else was saying something.
But digital temple, I mean, for I think the darshan is very nice. I know we cannot go there, that is here, but like for us, if I want to take darshan of Mayapur, Radha Madhav, the, probably with COVID, I think most of the temples have upped their game with respect to online, broadcasting. And
Yeah. A lot of churches have also done that.
yeah, so
They
we get
have,
very nice darshan and arti and classes also. So that's one of the few positives of the current situation.
yeah. Even I was reading about Christian churches. Everybody has now become good at digital. They are doing digital sermons from their church. They are giving advice online. So I looked at Christian churches, Jewish synagogues. So everybody is now going in that direction. And how do you make a large number of people devotees if it is just physical temple? Will people come every week like Sheshdev and I go every week? I go like, when the temple was, when there was no COVID, I used to go almost every day. But how many people will do that? How many people can do that? Do they have like a good vehicle to kind of drive this far and come? It's not possible. So we are stuck in a catch-22 situation, right? People may take like an hour, 2 hour to go to the temple. So they'll eventually not go to the temple. But then how do we take people to this goal of approaching the entire world, 1 billion people, out of which some of will take, but yeah, our target audience is 1 billion people. I mean, companies like Amazon have done very good job. Technically, they can reach to the all 8 billion people. If somebody has a purchasing power, they can buy it online today. They are there everywhere, in every country.
Yeah, and for the more poverty-stricken countries where internet cannot reach, I think they are deploying more and more satellites so that at
Exactly.
least
Yeah, I heard
yeah,
this. For many small, tiny African countries, because there's no infrastructure, they are doing satellites and also balloons. They put a helium balloon with a little transmitter that can relay um, internet connectivity. They are
yeah,
finding that to be cheaper than satellites and cheaper than putting regular cables. Just a helium balloon is floating in the air, which has got a transmitter, which will take from the previous transmitter and then boost up the power and give internet connectivity.
yep,
So companies like Amazon have gone to that extent. They are trying to give connectivity to everyone to do what? Some material things, so that they can buy like a Barbie doll or some recording equipment or some microphone or some shirt or pant for very silly stuff. But then how do we reach a large audience? Because actually we haven't been able to reach a large audience, right? You and I are very lucky because we have nice vehicles, we have nice income, so that we are able to kind of search the internet, find a temple, go there. Like I remember when Rajalakshmi first came, she looked us up online. She came. Due to Corona, very few people were there in temple. I was talking to her. She said, yes, yes, I want to learn more. Such people are very rare. For most of the majority of the population, we have to force feed them. We have to open their mouth and shove it into their mouth. Come on, eat this. Right? So if you don't do that, then they won't listen. There are too many priorities, right? Your 24 hours is taken up between your WhatsApp and your driving and your office work and relatives, talking to relatives. I remember when I was in India, I used to rarely talk to my relatives, but after coming to America, we have good communications, right? So we are talking more now than before. So all these things will take away your time and time of all the target audience that we are trying to reach. So I don't know the answer yet, but we have to find out ways, right? Why? Because it's important. If something is important, you want to teach it to other people to help them. Otherwise, they will go crazy. And like that boy who committed suicide after losing some money in stocks. Is that necessary? No, right? Why should somebody die just for a little bit of online virtual money? That's not even real money. It's just a number on your screen, isn't it? Just a number on your screen. That's it. What you eat will not change. Even if you have $730,000, you will still eat that 4 chapatis and sabji. Or you will eat that rice and sambar and some maybe pulihora or fried rice or something like that. That's about it. What else can you eat? So people are going crazy, and if you don't help them, they'll go further crazy. And then you may say, "Oh, why should we help?" Well, somebody has to help. It's not like you're always relying on somebody else to help the general population. No. Mahatma Gandhi said, right? Be the change you want to see in the world. So instead of waiting for somebody else to do it, you do it. You help some people in your neighborhood, in your relatives, family, friends circle. They will not listen to you, they will yell at you, but that's okay. Like I said something to my relatives in Dallas, and both of my kids started fighting with me. Why are you preaching to them? They are not interested. Leave them alone. But if everybody leaves them alone, they'll go to hell. It's guaranteed. They're already on a very strong path to hell. They are on the hell highway without any exits. If nothing is done, they'll definitely go to hell. So somebody has to do it. No, my kids fight with me the all time. Why are you doing these classes? None of your students are interested. I said eventually somebody will be interested. So you be patient, because in my 3 batches, right? Who took initiation? Nobody took initiation yet. Nobody is ready to take that next step. Of course, Sheshdev got initiated not because of me. He got initiated because of his training in Dallas. Right? So sometimes my kids say, "Why are you teaching? Why are you wasting your time?" I said, if I don't do it, then even that little bit of is not there, right? People will not learn that much. And if they don't learn, then they cannot teach other people. So in this way, the whole world will go to dogs. So somebody got to start somewhere, baby steps. You have to start and help other people. If you don't help other people, guaranteed they are going to hell. They are working very hard day and night to go to hell.
We are very thankful that you're doing this, Prabhuji. I mean,
Yeah.
devotee association without this, right? Sometimes we go insane without this. Like for a few weeks, there was no online or in-person classes. It's like it's almost like palpitation kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And yeah,
So now you have to pass on the mercy to others also, right? You have to teach other people to the extent of your capacity, right? When Prabhupada was there, Yamuna Devi's daughter, small daughter, maybe 2 or 3 years old. She afraid.
He's in the house. I can't.
No, you cannot open the door. You just cannot open it. Because including the handle, faucet, everything I have to clean. And I just given, especially Friday evening, and I'm just tired. And the minute I sat down, he said that, and then again I got to just pray. Again I have to. It's not. Then because I'm the one.
Can you go on mute? Yeah. So I understand the dilemma, right? Whenever somebody goes outside, comes in, we have to clean our door handles, everything, coronavirus. That's the challenge of the modern day. Yeah. So what I was saying is, yes, we have to somehow or the other practice devotion and teach other people devotion to the extent possible. So when Prabhupada was around, there was this small girl, 2 or 3 years old. And then she went to somebody in the audience and she said, "Do you know Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead?" And then she walked away. So she is a very good preacher, right? At the age of 2, when she was barely learning, 2 or 3, when she was barely learning how to speak, she was already preaching, telling that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So it is possible, anybody can preach. And somebody, someday, they will trigger. Like I'm known in my office colleague circle as, yeah, he does some kind of thing, meditation, devotion kind of thing in his temple. They don't know what I do. But somebody will catch on, right? Like in one of my college, my office all hands, people said, yeah, tell one interesting thing about yourself. Then I said, yeah, I'll tell you one interesting thing, but you all have to follow me. They said, yes. Then I said, okay, raise your hands. I said, repeat after me, Hare Krishna. They said, Hare Krishna. Then again I said, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. I made them chant the whole mantra once. And then I said, yeah, thank you. And I kept quiet. So that seed is there. Right? Maybe 20 years later, they'll be somewhere in the London subway, and then some Hare Krishna devotees will give them a Bhagavad Gita. 10 years after that, they may come to a temple, and then they may die. But next lifetime, they'll start. Again, next lifetime, they will remember what they have done this lifetime a little bit. Some sukruti will be there, and they may start coming to the temple like that. So it doesn't happen in one lifetime. It takes many, many lifetimes to come to that platform. So we have to help other people. If we don't help other people, Krishna won't be necessarily pleased with us. So in the European Journal of Social Psychology, it is said that it takes an average of 66 days to create a new habit. So if you do anything for 66 days, it becomes a habit. Done. Right? So if you chant continuously for 66 days, after that you cannot stop chanting. You'll keep on chanting. So in the online world, we can do daily devotional videos. We can do weekly Zoom meetings, podcasts. Every day we can release podcasts. We can send email newsletters to the general audience and temple devotees. Newsletters are like basically small tidbits, like the temple WhatsApp. Every day they send something, so that keeps me interesting thing, right? Like for example, I sent this out today, Bhakti Vikas Maharaj's class, and then how to take a temple darshan by taking appointment, and then there was some topic here. So in this way, this keeps on going. So the Swaminarayan people, everybody know who Swaminarayan is?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah, mainly in Gujarat, they are active, but they are nowadays active in Delhi and other places. Here in Seattle, planning to build a temple. They have big temples in Houston and in
New Jersey.
New Jersey. Yeah, very, very big ones. Because they don't do anything less than $40 million temples. they believe in very big things. So because they do very big things, what happened? United Nations called them. And they give advice to United Nations on spiritual matters. Why can't we be on United Nations? They built 1100 mandirs around the globe. They have 1000 sadhus. We also have a lot of sadhus, like the saffron wearing. We probably have more than 1000, but they have 1000 sadhus. They have 55,000 volunteers. Very, very dynamic. They make this famous Swaminarayan Khichdi in Ahmedabad. It's like that. So you have to help other people through your actions, taking them to devotional life, right? Of course, Swaminarayan, although they are doing devotional life, they have got a little bit of few concepts mixed up. Just like almost every Hindu organization in India has their concepts mixed up. Because they will do maybe 70% devotion, 20% Mayavad, 10% Western masala, like that. ISKCON so far has been trying to do 100% pure devotion, but we don't know how long, right? People could also introduce masala, and some people have already tried to do that. They will like put cinema jokes as a part of Bhagavad Gita classes, right? So you have to think about these things. How to help myself and how to help others. Because if you don't help them, guaranteed they are going to help. If you like somebody, you have to help them. And if you don't like somebody, especially you have to help them. He may be your enemy, then you all the more reason to help them. Because ultimately, nobody is a friend, nobody is an enemy, Krishna says. These are all souls struggling in the material world. So if somebody is angry at you or somebody is, your enemy, you should help that person also, directly or indirectly. Usually by giving Krishna Prasadam, when you give that, they get purified also along the way. Okay, any thoughts, any questions? I didn't do this slide yet. Sikhism has a lot of these things. They are a very close-knit community, although their philosophy is also Mayavad. Because in Sikhism, one day I saw in the Gurudwara in Kent, they take their big Dwajastamba, their big pole, and they wash it with milk. So instead of doing Abhishekam to the Lord, they're doing Abhishekam to the pillar. They're doing something, but it's all mixed up, confused state. Normally we should give a bath with milk to Krishna or Narayana or Vishnu or Rama. They're doing it to the pillar. So, because again, state of confusion. Almost every religion that has come out of India, they're all in a confused state. Because they're all doing mixed masala, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. So we have to be very careful. Because we have a higher moral ground. We are directly associating with Bhagavad Gita. I mean, in the Guru Granth Sahib, there is mention of Ram, but doesn't go into much detail. Like there's a couple of pages are talking about like Kahat Ram or something like that. They will read. And when I went to the Golden Temple in Amritsar, I went to the topmost room. There they were reading Guru Granth Sahib, and in that they were talking about Lord Ram, but very little, very minimal, not at a great level of depth. There's a lot of Muslim influences also in Sikhism. So almost every religion is heavily contaminated right now, including Christianity, Islam also. So we have to go back 5,000 years to go to the Bhagavad Gita and teach it to other people. Because all these modern religions, they have a little bit of spirituality, but not a whole lot. So with that said, that's my shopping cart. So we did 10:14 previously. Okay, repeat after me. Arjuna Uvacha.
Arjuna Uvacha
Ashyami Devamstava Devadehe.
Pashyami Devamstava Devadehe
Sarvamstatha Bhuta Vishesha Sangan.
Sarvamstata Bhuta Vishesha Sangan
Brahmanamisham Kamalasanastam.
Brahmanamisham Kamalasanastam
Rishimsha Sarvanurukamsha Divyan.
Shrimscha Sarvanuragamscha Divya.
Arjuna said, my dear Lord Krishna, I see assembled in your body all the demigods and various other living entities. I see Brahma sitting on the lotus flower, as well as Lord Shiva and all the sages and the divine serpents. So this one verse can tell you why you don't need to worship the devatas. Because all the devatas are assembled in Krishna's body. So why worship each devata individually? Worship Krishna. You're worshipping all 33 crore devatas in one shot. Okay, Disha Mataji, please read.
Yes, Prabhu. Arjuna sees everything in the universe. Therefore, he sees Brahma, who is the first creature in the universe, and the celestial serpent upon which the Garbhodakshai Vishnu lies in the lower regions of the universe. This snake bed is called Vasuki. There are also other snakes known as Vasuki. Arjuna can see from the Garbhodakshai Vishnu up to the topmost part of the universe, on the lotus flower planet where Brahma, the first creature of universe, resides. That means that from the beginning to the end, everything could be seen by Arjuna, who was sitting in one place on his chariot. This was possible by the grace of Supreme Lord Krishna.
It's amazing. He's also seeing Brahma sitting in the lotus flower, which is in the Satyaloka. Remember the hierarchy? Satyaloka. So he's seeing all the way from Satyaloka down to planet Earth, which means he's seeing all the 7 lokas above planet Earth. That was the body of Krishna. And he's seeing all the demigods also. Why? Because demigods are where? Where are demigods right now? They are in Swargaloka. Om Bhur Bhuvar Swaha. Swaha is the Swargaloka. Bhuvarloka and then Swargaloka. So he's seeing everything from bottom to top. And he's seeing Lord Shiva also. So Rajalakshmi, are you still there? Or did she drop off? Okay, she's not there. So she was asking the question, why can't I worship Shiva? Shiva is also a part of the body of Supreme Lord. So why worship Shiva independently? Just worship Krishna. And everybody is worshipped simultaneously. Okay, Sheshdeva, please read.
You want me to read, Prabhuji? Arjuna sees everything in the universe. Therefore, he sees Brahma, who is the first creature in the universe, and the celestial serpent upon which the Garbhodakshaya Vishnu lies in the lower regions of the universe. The snake bed is called Vasuki. There are other snakes known as Vasuki. There are also other snakes known as Vasuki. Arjuna can see from the Garbhodakshaya Vishnu up to the topmost part of the universe on the lotus flower planet where Brahma, the first creature of the universe, resides. That means that from the beginning to the end, everything could be seen by Arjuna, who was sitting in one place on his chariot. This was possible by the grace of the Supreme Lord Krishna.
So if we have the grace of the Supreme Lord Krishna, then we can see things as they are. Until we have his grace, we will be essentially making mistakes. We will think that who is running the universe? The president is running the country. There are different presidents in different countries. Like that, we will start thinking of things that are next to us. But actually, who is running? The Supreme Lord himself is running the whole thing from top to bottom. Top means from Satyaloka, bottom means until Padaloka. Aneka Bahudara Netram.
Anekabahudara netram
Pashyami Tvam Sarvato Anantarupam.
Pashyami tvam sarvato anantarupam
Nantam na madhyam na punastavadim.
Nantam na madhyam na punastavadim
Pashyami Vishveshwara Vishwarupa.
Pashyami Vishveshwara Vishwarupa.
O Lord of the universe, O universal form, I see in your body many, many arms, bellies, mouths, and eyes expanded everywhere without limit. I see you in no end, in you no end, no middle, and no beginning. Means he is like all pervading. Whichever way he looks, right, 360 degrees, and top to bottom, he can only see these various features of the Lord called the Vishwarupa. Many arms, many bellies, means there are many different individual personalities in that body. Eyes, Sahasra Sirsha Purushaha, right? So somebody who has Sahasra, 1,000 heads, 1,000 pairs of hands, 1,000 pairs of legs, without limit. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says, just one line. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and is unlimited. Thus, through him, everything could be seen. Kirtinam Gadinam Chakrinam Cha
Kirtinam Gatinam Chakrinam Cha
Tejo Rasim Sarvato Deeptimantham
Tejo Sarvato Deeptimantam
Pashyami Tvam Durnirikshayam Samanta
Pashyami Tvam Durniryam
Deeptanalan Nalarka Dyutim Aprameyam.
Deepanalarka Dyutim Aprameyam.
So he uses the word deep twice. Deep means lamp, but Deepti Mantam means glowing like a lamp, quality of a lamp, and Deepta Anala means not a small deepa, it's like a blazing fire, huge fire that's coming out. Deeptanaranka Dyuti Aprameyam. So he is describing the Lord with lot of kiritam. Kiritanam means the helmet that you wear. Gadinam, the gada with which people fight. Chakrinam, with discs. So not just one Vishnu chakra, but multiple Vishnu chakras you see. Tejaha Rasim, effulgence, light coming out. Your form is difficult to see because of its glaring effulgence spreading on all sides, like blazing fire or the immeasurable radiance of the sun. Yet I see this glowing form everywhere, adorned with various crowns, clubs, and discs. So various crowns means there are various heads. Which means, so the Lord has expanded himself into multiple personalities also. And his radiance is compared to immeasurable radiance of the sun. Just like there is a verse which says, Koti Surya Saman, means like 1 crore of suns. One sun is very bright, but if you put 1 crore suns, that's how much Krishna is glowing in his form. That's what the point is being made here. Tvamaksharam paramam veditvayam.
Tvam Aksharam Paramam Vedityam
Tvamasya vishvasya param nidhanam.
Tvamasya Nishvasya Param Nidhanam
Tvamavyaya shashvata dharma gopta.
Tvam Avyaya Shashvata Dharma Gopta
Sanatanastvam purusho mato me.
Sanatanastvam Purusho Mato Me.
You are the supreme primal objective. There's object and objective. Objective means going towards that object. So you are the primal, means the very first. Prime numbers, they say, right? Primal means first. So you're the supreme first objective or the destination. You are the ultimate resting place of all the universe. So the entire universe is resting in his body because he's actually seeing it. He's seeing the whole universe from Satyaloka to Bhuloka. Actually, we're seeing even lower forms. From the waist of the Lord down, he's seeing the subterranean planets like Atala, Vitala, Sutra, Talatala, like that. And he's saying you are inexhaustible, Avyayam. Vyaya means spend, Avyayam means no spend. Oldest. You are the maintainer of eternal religion. So he's not only Sanatanam, but he's maintaining the religion. Dharma Gopta. Saswata, for eternity, Dharma means principles of religion or activity or duty or intrinsic nature. Gopta means maintaining. Gupta means secret. Gopta is maintaining. And he's saying that is my opinion. So Arjuna is now expressing his opinion, which is actually a fact. Anadimadhyantamananta viryam.
Anadimadhyantamananta Viryam
Anantabahum shashishurya netram.
Anantabahum Shashisuryanetram.
Netram.
Pashyami tvam Deepta-hutasavaktam
Pashyami tvam Deepta Hutashavaktam.
Svatejasa Vishwam Idam Tapantam.
Swatejasa Vishwam Idam Tapantam.
Tapantam.
So again, he's glorifying. Whatever he said previously, he's saying again. Anadi means without a beginning. Ananta. Ant means end. Anant means no end. Right? Like in Maharashtra, you have names like Anant Bide. Anant is like the name of a person. So you are without origin, middle, or end. Your glory is unlimited. You have numberless arms. Sun and moon are your eyes. I see you with blazing fire coming forth from your mouth, burning this entire universe by your own radiance. So there was actually fire coming out of the Lord's mouth because he's not in a peaceful mood. He's like showing the actual intense form of the Lord. In the end, Arjuna will say, I cannot take this anymore, my Lord. Come back to that beautiful Shyam Sundar form with Tribhanga. Tribhanga means bent in three places, one near shoulder, one near waist, one at the legs. If you see, Krishna is always bent in three places. That's how he likes to stand. And sun and moon are your eyes, eyes of the Lord. I see you with blazing fire coming forth from your mouth, burning this entire universe by your own radiance. I was actually surprised to find that even in Bible they talk of sun and moon as the two things coming out of the Lord. So, very interesting. You have numberless arms, and sun and moon are your eyes. And this entire universe is being burnt by his own radiance. Means not burnt like on a day-to-day basis, but when it doesn't need to be existing anymore, pralaya, through his Lord's radiance, the whole thing will be burnt. Okay, Gopal, read.
Sure. There is no limit to the extent of the six opulence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Here and in many other places there is a repetition. But according to the scriptures, repetition of the glories of Krishna is not an literary weakness. It is said that at a time of bewilderment or wonder or of great ecstasy, statements are repeated over and over. That is not a flaw.
Yeah. So sometimes you may like something so well, right? You may go to July 4th fireworks and say, it was so good. And then you don't stop there. Yeah, these in the beginning it had, white light, then they were yellow, then they were multiple color. It was so good. Then you won't stop having dinner. Again, you will say, wow, this year the fireworks was so good. You say the same thing 3-4 times. Similarly, although in the last 4 verses, Arjuna is saying the same thing again and again in different ways and different words, it is not like it's a literary weakness. It's not like he doesn't know how to speak or unnecessarily repeating. No, it's out of ecstasy. So happy, so happy. So he's saying the similar statements, not exact same, similar statements again and again. Yava prithviyoridhamantaram him. Yeah, see, English is not a precise language, right? If you look at the Sanskrit on the top, the whole thing is one word. Dhyava prithiyo riti damandantar antaram hi, because there is a dot on top of the R. So the whole thing is one word. Can you believe it? This whole line has only 2 words. Dhyava prithviyor idam anantaram, and then second word is he. He means yes, it is. Okay, like that. Vyaptam tvayekena disasya sarvaham.
Vyaptam tvayekena dishascha sarvaha.
दृष्ट्वाद्भुतं रूपमुग्रं तवेदम्
दृष्ट्वाद्भुतं रूपम् उग्रं तवेदम्
लोकत्रयं प्रव्याथितं महात्मन्
लोकात्रयं प्रव्याथितं महात्मा
It's actually not loka, it is loka, right? Lokatrayam. Because if you look at the Sanskrit from the top, there is no loka, there is no aki matra next to the ka, right? It's lokatrayam. Anyway, if you know Hindi, you know Sanskrit. It's very easy. I don't know Sanskrit, but that's actually, that script is Hindi script, which is Sanskrit originally. Trayam means three. Anybody been to Trayambakeshwar in Maharashtra? It's a place where three rivers meet. There is a nice Shiva temple. My brother went there. Trayambakeshwar. So he's saying this Rupam is terrible. Ugram. Ugram means terrible. It's Adbhutam, means it's wonderful. Drishtva means by seeing what? The Adbhutam, Rupam, Ugram, Tavedam, Tava. Bhavataha Tava Nama Kim means, oh dear sir, Tava, your Nama, name, Kim, what? What is your name? Tava means you. Mama means me. Dishaha, directions. Kis disha mein gaya? That disha comes from dishaha, directions. So what is the meaning of your name, Mataji? Disha?
Direction.
Direction, yeah. So it must have come from dishaha, right?
Yep.
Vyaptam, pervaded. Sarvatra vyaptam means pervaded everywhere, sarvatra. So dva pritpiyor, that's the whole thing is one word, remember? So dva means from outer space to pritpiyo means to the earth. So from outer space, starting from Satyaloka down to the earth and in between. Vyaptam, everything is spread out. You are spread out, my Lord. Tvaya. Tava means you. Tvaya means by you. Alone, ekena. Ek, do, teen. All those come from Sanskrit. Ekena, dvau, dva. In some European languages, it's called du. Du means two. In Hindi, it is do. And dvau is two in Sanskrit, like that. They're all related. Although you are one, you spread throughout the sky and planets and all space between. Oh, great one. Seeing this wonderful and terrible form, all the planetary systems are perturbed. Perturbed means they are disturbed. They are in a confused state. What is going on? Wonderful, terrible form. Adbhutam and Ugram. So when we sing about Nrsimhadev, we say, Ugraviram Mahavishnam Jwalantam Sarvato Mukham. Ugraviram means he's a terrible Vira. Mahavishnu. So Vishnu is very pleasing, but when he comes as Nrsimha, is very fear invoking. For of course, the average guy, for devotee, they enjoy that form. Wow, my Lord has taken this form like that. Jwalatam sarvatomukam. Jwala means fire is coming out of his mouth. And that's what Arjuna says in the previous verse. If you remember, he says that glowing fire coming from your mouth. Okay, Radha, read.
Yes, Prabhuji. The translation.
Yes. No, purport.
Okay. Purport. Okay. Dayavya Pratibhyav, the space between the heaven and earth and the Lokatrayam, the three worlds are significant words in this verse because it appears that not only did Arjuna see this universal form of the Lord, but others in other planetary systems saw it also. Arjuna's seeing of the universal form was not a dream. All whom the Lord endowed with divine vision saw that universal form on the battlefield.
So because of Arjuna, it appears that even the Devatas and the Rishis in the higher planetary systems also saw this Lord's form. Because he's spreading from where? From Satyaloka down to earth. And then you have 7 lokas in Satyaloka, including Satyaloka up to earth. You have 7 lokas. So all these intermediately planetary systems also, apparently they saw it. Whoever the Lord endowed. He may have given it to some based on certain reasons. We don't know that. But look, it appears that everybody saw it from top planetary system to the earth. But not the people below us, like Atala, Vitala, Sutala. Those people, it doesn't say that they saw it. Ami hitvam sura sanga vishanti.
Ami hitvam vishanti.
I think we can sing this in a different way also. Ami hitvam sura sanga vishanti. I like that. Anyway, we'll stick to our normal meter. Bitah prajnalayo grinanti.
Kechid bitah prajalayo grananti.
Swastiti uktva maharshi siddha sangaha.
Swastiti uktva maharshi siddha sangaha.
Stuvanti tvam stubihi pushkalabhihi.
Stuvanti tvam stutibihi pushkalabhihi.
So one person once came to the temple. I said, yeah, I said, no, I want the original Vedas. Even this we are struggling to read. Think about reading that original Vedas. The fellow will go crazy. Right? So stick to what we can. This itself is sufficient for us to get liberated. So there are some very good meanings here. Sura Sangaha means groups of demigods are seen in his body. They are entering Vishanti. They are entering into the Lord's mouth, which is glowing like fire. There is actually fire coming out of the Lord's mouth. And all these devatas are entering out of fear. Vitaha. Viti means fear. Vitaha means out of fear. And some of them are glorifying him. Pranjalayaha means with folded hands they are saying, my Lord, you are so great. Grinanti are offering prayers with folded hands, and out of fear, these groups of demigods, some of them are entering his mouth full of fire, some of them are offering prayers. Swasti means all peace. Like sometimes after a program is concluded, they say Swasti, right? Means it's all peace. Maharishi, great sages. Siddha Sangaha, perfect beings. Stuvanti, Stuvanti Gayanti. Stuvanti means singing hymns. Gayanti means singing songs. Stuvanti Gayanti, like that. There are a number of verses like that. Unto you. So they are singing hymns to you. Stutivi, Stuti Karna. Stuti means you are praising somebody with prayers. Pushkalabhihi, Vedic hymns. So he can see all these demigods Some of them are entering the mouth and some of them are saying out of fear, "Oh my Lord, you are so great. Don't burn us in your fire." So they are glorifying him, not with general talk like "you are so good," but with Vedic hymns, which are also praises, but they are much more intense. Okay. Disha, translation and purport.
Yes, Prabhu. All the hosts of demigods are surrendering before you and entering into you. Some of them, very afraid, very much afraid, are also offering prayers with folded hands. Hosts of great sages are and perfected beings, crying, "All peace," are praying to you by singing the Vedic hymns. Purport: the demigods are in all the planetary system feared the terrific manifestation of the universal form and its glaring effulgence, and so prayed for protection.
Yeah. So because when the Lord comes in his fierce form, the demigods who are all watching from the balconies of their respective planets, they're very afraid because some of them have been sucked into the Lord's mouth with glowing fire. So they are saying, "Oh my Lord, you are so great. Please don't destroy us." They prayed for protection. Of course, the Lord won't destroy them unless they do something wrong. Rudradityavasavo yeche sadhya
Rudradityavasavo ye cha sadhya
Vishve Ashwinao Marutaschosma Pascha
Vishvesvinau Marutaschoshma Pascha
Gandharva Yakshasura Siddha Sangha
Gandharva
Sangha
Sangha
Vikshanta Tvam Vishmitaschaiva Sarve
Vikshante Tvam Vishmitascha Sarve.
Sarve.
So now, who are the kinds of devatas? Manifestations of Lord Shiva, Rudras, Adityas, Vasus, Sadhyas, Vishwadevas, Ashwini Kumaras, Marutas, and Ushmapas, the forefathers, Gandharvas, Yakshas, Asuras, Siddhas, Sangaha, everybody is assembled there. Vikshante, what are they doing? They are beholding, oh my Lord, like that. What are they saying? They are beholding you in wonder, Vishmitaha, Vismitaha. In Hindi, there's a word called Vismay. I think there's a movie also by that name. Vismay means with great wonder or in awe or shock. Visma, Vismay. So Vismitaha means in wonder. Eva, certainly, Sarve, all. Sarve Jana Sukhino Bhavantu, they say, right? Sarve Jana means all, everybody. So all the various manifestations of Lord Shiva, the Adityas, the Vasus and the Sadhyas, the Vishwadevas, the Ashwini Kumaras, the Maruts, and the, whatever the Sanskrit for forefathers, Usmapaha, forefathers, and the Gandharvas, Yakshas, and Asuras, and the perfected demigods. You see the difference? Some demigods are not perfected demigods. Some are like, Upadevatas, assistant demigods. Some of them are like, because of their little bit of pious karma, they go to heaven. But they are not like Indra. They are not that powerful. They're just like average guys. They're hanging around here and there. So there are perfected demigods, and there are demigods who are becoming perfect gradually. So they are beholding Krishna with wonder. Of course, Lord Shiva is a perfected demigod. Adityas, Vasus. Otherwise, their names are not mentioned here. They are very special demigods. Okay, let's stop there for today and chant. Sri Krishna Chaitanya